Hi everyone, and welcome to another medieval adventure. Also, it's a costuming adventure. Also, it's a hood adventure. It's all kinds of adventures. What am I saying? Life itself is an adventure. Let's do it. I'm Daisy Victoria, and today we are going to make an open hood found in a lot of artwork in the 15th century. In fact, this hood style is found in a lot of artwork that also contains that ruffled dress I just made, which is really convenient because I'm making it to go with the dress. In fact, it's more than convenient, it was actually on purpose that I chose to make this style of hood. Hoods are a common finding in artwork throughout the Middle Ages, as well as in various archaeological finds. And this particular hood is just one specific type of hood, or like a later 15th century variation on the popular medieval hood. The hood style I'm basing this on is worn open. So there's a little bit of a difference from the earlier period hoods, which are kind of fuller and more meant for being closed and buttoned around the face. This one, on the other hand, is actually made to be worn open. So the pattern is a little bit different. That said, the pattern is still in fact based on some archaeological finds of hoods from the period. I will actually link you in the description and up here to a PDF pattern that I have created for this hood, and that includes a full photographic step-by-step sewing tutorial. I was originally just going to release the standard open hood, but I think I'm actually going to put in the scalloped edge that I added to mine because it's super fun. In the 15th century open hood examples, we see a lot of red ones, and that's the reason why I've already made a red one, and you saw that. I made it a long time ago, but I wore it for the reveal of that pink ruffled dress. By the way, that was the first part of my medieval strawberry dress. This hood is the second part, and that's going to be important in just a moment. There are other colors of these open hoods in artwork. For example, there's a lot of black ones. There's various other colors. I chose to make my hood green, and there's a reason for that, because I am going to make a medieval strawberry dress in which I turn myself into a strawberry. And as we all know, strawberries have green leaves on top, so it wouldn't make any sense for my hat or headwear to be any other color but green. So it had to be a green hood, no question. Duh, obviously. So for this hood, I found a really nice fabric. It's linen, so I can wear it all year, even in the South. And it's kind of got this texture that I like a lot. And I am modeling this hood after these images from the 15th century. Now for this hood, I took it a little bit further than the standard open hood in another way as well. In earlier periods, we do see a lot of dagged hoods with different types of scalloped edges. These open hoods tend to be kind of plain on the bottom, but as we all know, strawberries have leaves, and that means I needed scalloped edges on the bottom of this hood, so I added a piece of scalloping along the bottom edge. And I am including that in the PDF pattern just in case you guys want to do that. Just as a disclaimer, note that that is an add-on here for strawberry styling, and it's more influenced by the earlier hoods that close together more. And for that reason, the pattern actually can just be used as the standard open hood, so you can make one just like my red one that I wore before, or you can add the scalloped edge if you want. So let's embark upon an adventure to create this hood together. I was recently out of town, and when I came back home to work on this project, I found a note at my sewing machine, which my darling partner left there for me. It was really nice to sit down to the sewing machine with this little love note. What a loving way to transition back over to the sewing machine at home. My pattern for this hood is cut using the one I have linked in the description for you. The first kind of tricky part about sewing this hood together, and probably the most tricky part, I would say, of the whole process, is setting in the gores that go at sort of that neck area of the hood. This is what the gore looks like once it's placed. We have a few gores to do. We have 2 in the outer fabric and 2 in the lining. So let's see how I did it. The gore is basically a triangle of cloth that's inserted into this slit that's cut in the hood. And inserting it is a little bit of a trick that you just get better at with practice. I'm pinning the gore into that slit with right sides together and making sure that some of the triangle extends above the top of that slit, so that way I have some seam allowance in there to work with. I do sew my gores entirely by machine, and I do that very carefully by sewing first one side and then very carefully kind of coaxing the fabric in there under the needle and making sure it doesn't bunch up or get caught or anything like that. And then when I get to the point, I change the direction of the sewing machine needle and I sew down the other side just the same. Setting gores can be tricky at first and can take a little bit of practice to really get your rhythm down. And if you're having a lot of trouble with the sewing machine, you can always do this by hand. In fact, sometimes it can be easier for some people to sew just like mostly the sides on each side by machine and then hand stitch that point at the top. And if that helps you, that's totally fine. This is what the gore should look like on the front side and the back side of the hood. And then when that is done, I iron it so that the triangle is basically flat, so the seam allowance is pointing out away from the gore on the inside. Okay, hardest part done. Just repeat for both gores, and if you're lining the hood, repeat for the lining too, which it turns out I was doing. Now you can make a hood without gores, but this is kind of standard in grapevines to find a lot of hoods that have a gore here, so that's why I chose to include it in this one. I think it really makes a nice fit too for this particular shape. After this, I'm basically sewing the whole hood together down the back and leaving the front open because it is worn open. Since this hood is lined, I am attaching the lining, which is sewn very similarly to the outer fabric. I just don't have the full, long, extended liripipe point in the lining. I have the lining stopping pretty much at the back of the head, and the liripipe is just in the outer fabric. Sometimes turning those corners can be a little bit tricky, so you can use your favorite method to help you out there. So this is technically a finished open hood. Just, if you wanted to make a basic open hood, I think it looks really cute. And I love this green linen that's kind of like a textured looking fabric. I think it's really nice. Bonus, I got some footage in the snow before it all melted. My project is not quite done here though, so let's keep going. Since I am a strawberry, I needed something else added to my hood, and that is some rounded dags that look kind of like leaves. As we noted, these rounded dags are present in medieval hoods. We see them a lot in earlier period hoods that are closed at the front, and even in hoods from the same period as the open hood, but they tend to be the longer, more closed front hoods, and a lot of men's hoods have these. So this is a bit of a design choice for me because I want to be a strawberry. And this piece is also included in my PDF pattern, so if you want to add it to yours too, I got you covered. Basically, I have this ruffle piece that attaches to the bottom of the hood, and I've slashed it so that I can create these little rounded dags. I have my main fabric and my lining. In my case, they are the same green linen fabric. So I am lining this piece before I attach it to my hood. Since I made this as a separate piece from the main body of the hood, I'm actually finishing it off and attaching it as a separate piece. I think it looks really nice. This is actually a lovely hood, and it looks very strawberry-like. What do you think? Wait a minute, is this project too easy? Are you finishing this too quickly? Do you want this to be more challenging, more time-consuming? Why don't you try adding handmade trim to all the edges? That's right, by creating your own finger loop cord to go all the way around this hood and then sewing it on by hand as well, you can increase the time it takes to complete this project by 400, 500, maybe even by 1,000%. See, no longer a super fast project. Now it'll take you plenty of time. You're welcome, self. Wait a minute. So, following the advice of myself, who always has great ideas to make projects more interesting and more time-consuming also, I started making some finger loop cord. And I actually have a video tutorial showing you how I do this particular method, and I will link that for you as well in case you'd like to make some of your own. And then I created a nice little spot for myself on the floor with pillows. I thought it would be nice to just make it really relaxing and comfy because I had a lot of hand sewing to go. Finger loop cord looks really nice on the edge of this hood, and hand sewing it was definitely the way to go. So I sewed, and I sewed, and I sewed. This was not done in one single day, but over the course of a few days. And I think it was totally worth it because this looks so, so cool. And I love that extra texture it brings. I love this project because it's so fun, it's so darling, and I think it's something that's reasonable for any skill level to attempt. The hardest part is really setting in that gore, and other than that, it's pretty straightforward in terms of sewing projects. So for more advanced folks, it's a really quick project, and for more beginner folks, it's totally a project you can do, and I think it'll give you a fun result without hopefully too much hassle. I'm wearing this hood over a cap. The white linen cap I have on is inspired by the famous Saint Birgitta cap, and I do have a pattern and also a video to help you guys create one if you would like that too. It really helps to have that so you can pin your hood to something on your head, which I didn't actually do for these reveal shots, so that's our secret. But I did do that in my photo shoot with the pink dress previously when I put on my old red open hood, which by the way is basically the same pattern. I think there were a couple of little tiny tweaks between the red one and the green one. So the red one is kind of a first draft and the green one is the better draft, which is exactly the pattern that I have linked for you, the one I used for the green one. I'm so excited to be one step closer to becoming a medieval strawberry. You see, guys, dreams really do come true. You can be a strawberry if you want to. I think this hood is so cute, and I love that little extra dagged edge. It's just darling, and it's so fun to wear it too. I do still have the overdress to make for this project, and there's going to be a lot of detail work on it, so it may actually take me a little while to get done with it. But it is coming, and I'm really excited about it. If you want to make sure you keep seeing more, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Find me on all the social medias as Daisy Viktoria. My website is daisyviktoria.com. And a special thank you to my patrons who help me so much to continue the creation of this type of content for you guys. And if you do make your own hood with my pattern, please do tag me because I would love to see what you make. I hope you have a magical day, and I will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.